everyone, I'm Phil Donaus, your operations director of Rio Progress, and I'm joined by your executive director and the host of the show, Maria Fernanda. How's it going?
Good. I'm excited for this one.
Awesome. How's it feel to have recorded an entire first season?
Uh, I am tired, but I have discovered that I really like doing this, which I think is only news to me. Because
The educator likes to talk.
I like to yap, I like to teach, I like to get to know people.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun to watch the episodes back and see that they are what I felt in the moment too. It's also given me a chance to do some writing with the recaps and the captions and all that fun stuff. So I'm really happy that we embarked on this.
Awesome. So now, basically, we've been able to put out 8 episodes, and then we have a few of them that have happened in Spanish so far. Which out of the few episodes, let's go with the English ones, that you feel surprised you? Because I know the first one was the both of us, but then we had a variety of different people. We had business owners, we had people from our history or some former
Mm-hmm.
students.
I really liked the episode with our students,
Mm.
with our one who's already in college and one who's in high school.
Hmm.
I think that they were so excited to feel like, so, Gen Z has grown up with YouTube,
Yeah.
and Instagram and TikTok and all of these things. And we grew up with YouTube.
Yeah.
I was on it since 2010, probably earlier, watching Fred videos and, you know, uh, Jenna Marbles and all these people. But it wasn't my aspiration because it was so new. And I think for a lot of them,
Yeah.
this is like reaching top tier
Yeah.
status. So it was a lot of fun to watch them have fun with it and to experience that.
Mhm.
But also, we've been working with these students for a while now and getting to hear their growth in mindset, in ideas, in self assurance and confidence
Mhm.
was so fun and so exciting to be able to memorialize that in
Mhm.
a video format for them to also see in a year, 2 years from now and be like, wow, I've grown even since then. So I think those episodes, all of them were so fun to film and very special, but I think those two stand out to me as like, this is something really, really cool that we get to do, not just for us, but for them.
For sure. I think the really cool thing is that we get to, as a part of those episodes, people got to see a little bit about how we are as mentors or
Mm-hmm.
as counselors to them through the process as well, which I think is really cool. Um, it's really funny because I think that when we speak to other people in the community, we mention, oh, we're working with these students. They're like, oh, so do you just help them apply? We're like, I just wish it was only to apply. But there are so many other things that they need. They need
Yeah.
some guidance. They probably need some confidence building as well. Or they need someone to just be on their side. Like, I would say that's probably maybe 80% of the work that we're
Yeah.
doing. And it's cool that people actually get to see that. So I am excited, though, that, we will have other students join us on the podcast in the future
Because they've asked.
because they've asked, not because, yeah, but because they were like, we want to be on this
Yeah.
podcast. Also, I think what's really cool is we have such a large class this year that gives us the ability to ask so many other different stories. I think this year we have students from 5 high schools, which
Yep.
is pretty unique. Um, and we also have students who are pursuing a variety of different majors. I know the first class we worked with
All
really
engineers.
engineers. You want to make sure I heard,
All engineers.
okay, yeah. There you go. All engineers. But they were pursuing some sort of STEM, right? What would you say has been the most interesting part of working with this class? And of course, we're in the middle of October as we are
Yeah,
recording
I'm
this.
still working with this class, so I think
Yes.
it's a little hard. Uh, it's been a fun logistical challenge to have this many students. So we went from six our first year to 12 and 10 our second and third years. And we were so excited, I think, for our office space because it would mean we're going to have room, we're going to be able to get things done. And we had a group of over 35 this Sunday because we started filling out the FAFSA, so their parents were also here.
Hmm.
So that alone, right? Managing 35 different voices, 35 different thoughts, and getting them all motivated at the same time
Hmm.
is really, really difficult. it feels like I'm back in a classroom, right? It feels like I'm back trying to get, a good friend once called it herding cats.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're going to try and get you all in the same direction.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, I think we do have a much wider range of interests. I'm so excited that this year I get to work with someone who wants to be a writer, someone who wants to be a pilot. Of course, our usual group of engineers as well.
Engineers.
But also people who are still figuring it out, right? There's some people who have mixed interests. Like one of our students is really interested in generally law, but we're trying to figure out before we get to law school, right? What should she study? We have someone who's really interested in both architecture and history, and how are we going to find a way to blend those things together? And it's really, really fun for me to figure out what's at the core of that interest. Yeah. Because I think sometimes people say, well, you're good at math, so you should do science or engineering or STEM. Yeah. And you can be really good at something and not like it and not be passionate about it.
Yeah.
You could also be really bad at something and want to do it with all of your might. And so finding a blend of things that you're both good at and want to do and like to do that also are aligned with what you want your life to be. That part is fun. I know it's not fun for our students, but it's fun for me.
Yeah.
And it's fun for you because I know you get to work with them in this capacity as well, right? Where we do all the question asking that drives them nuts.
Oh yeah, I drive them nuts, but it's so that I can save them from the things that I struggled with when I was going through the process. I think the first thing I did was I came into a school and I picked a major that I knew I would like. Mm-hmm. And then I switched my major away from the thing that I would like and love to something that I thought I would just be good at. And ultimately, it was something I didn't love, and that really, really caused a lot of issues, right? So it's sort of strange, but like I say, I interrogate our students to the point at which where sometimes they have realizations about themselves or they're in tears, and it's not because they're sad, but it's because, I don't let them present the idea of success that their parents may have for them or that our community has for them. Instead, I sort of force them to realize that college is the first time they get to pick what they learn. Mm-hmm. Like their entire public school education for the majority of our students or private school education, you're being told based off of a curricula, off of
state requirements.
Exactly. Standardized tests, what you're going to study. College is one of the only investments in education that exists where you get to pick truly at a granular level what you're learning. And if you're not careful, you could go into debt for that. And for the majority of our students, we try to make sure that they're not even close to taking out any loans. But at the same time, their success is going to be really dependent on the fact that they are interested and motivated. And I think that's one of the things that I like to do with our students to be able to uncover that. I think with that, though, that process of helping them discover and understand what it is that they are learning and why they're learning it, there's the conversation about our community and how our community interprets what success looks like.
Yeah, I'm sure the mic picked up my deep sigh in preparation.
Go ahead. And I know that we have thoughts, and we talk about this a lot, right? But let's talk about what our community oftentimes points, or what direction our community oftentimes points our students in, and why we probably don't always prescribe to that at RP.
So I often start conversations with parents and students thinking about the 5 careers we all know about here. Just teaching, some form of law enforcement or public service, firefighting, lawyer, doctor, and then engineer now, right? Which engineer is also, I feel like, a relatively newer one. And people are stuck in these career ideas because we want stability. We want stability so badly for ourselves, for our families, for our kids. And we think, if you just pick a career that is stable, if you pick a career that has been around for a long time, then that means that you're always going to have a job, right? This idea of you're never going to be unemployed. And it's not that that's wrong. There are a lot of stable careers. I myself am a teacher, right? Certified. I keep my certification open because I know that it's something I may want to go back and do one day, or I may feel called to do one day. So I have it there.
Mm-hmm.
But my degree isn't in education technically, right? I got certified after college.
Well, let's specify. One of your almost 3 degrees is not in
Okay,
education. Yeah.
let's go back.
Yeah.
So I know this, and this will get to our community, but let's go back
Yeah.
to a little bit of my experience with
Yeah.
majors. So when I arrived in college, I wanted to be a foreign service officer. I've mentioned this in a previous episode.
Yeah.
I quickly decided that wasn't for me because the lifestyle wasn't going to align.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, poli-sci. Let's go into political science. I really like learning about government and politics and how it works. Turns out poli-sci is a whole lot of old professors talking to you about game theory. And that wasn't for me. So I panicked and was like, I cannot do a single class of this without feeling like I want to claw my eyes out because it's so boring, right? I'm just not going to make it through. And thankfully, I had the gut instinct that I couldn't study something boring for too long because I wasn't going to make it through. And that's what the data shows us, right? A major can influence whether or not you graduate.
Yeah.
So pivoted hard. I was like, well, I'm going to take some classes in education. I know I'd like that. Mm-hmm. And the only problem was that my school only offered it as a minor. Okay. So I couldn't actually major in education. I could minor in education studies. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I thought I didn't want to be a teacher. I wanted to go into the political side of education. Mm-hmm. So enter the process of finding a major. Mm-hmm. And I arrived at a made-up one, American Studies. It's not actually made up. It's real. But
well, I mean, you have a diploma to match. So it is a real major. But
it is a real major, but it was created by a department who kind of understood that there were going to be some of us in this university who entered and just wanted to learn from many different angles and many different perspectives. And this is what you consider something interdisciplinary, which means you're not just studying history, you're not just studying English, you're not just studying education, you're studying everything, or you're using everything as a tool to learn about something. So in my case, because it was American Studies, the question we were trying to learn about, or the question we were trying to answer through our major, is what is America? And how did we get here? Yeah. But I could approach it from any angle. And so I took most of my classes were in education, but I also took classes like American Diva, Women as Cold War Weapons, American Humor, Equity in Higher Education. And all of these helped me understand our country much better. Now, what do I do with this degree?
You do exactly what you're doing right now, right?
And I chose to teach at first because I really like it. I love yapping, guys. Like I really... Teaching is one of the few careers where you get to talk all day.
And podcasting.
Yes, and podcasting.
Yeah.
Which is a form of teaching. So I think it's the same thing. But you get to talk all day. You get to see immediate results oftentimes where I taught something and it stuck. Yeah. And tomorrow they know it. And that's exciting. So I went and I got my alternative certification. I became a teacher. But I could do anything with this degree. It's not one of these degrees that fits into those 5 categories neatly. It's kind of more like, ooh, you picked your own major. You did something weird. And it's scary. And the whole time that I was doing it, I remember having conversations with my parents who were like, what are you going to do with that? I was like, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
There are parents out there being like, what does that mean?
So here's what it means. It means that your student has 4 years in college. They have 3 summers. They have many semesters to do internships, to try their hand at things, and to figure out what they like to do with their knowledge. But the knowledge and the action are not required to be aligned. Yeah. And what this could mean, so in my case, it meant that, my knowledge was very broad strokes. I understand how this country works. Great. What does that translate into in terms of action? It doesn't. Not anything practically. But what I learned in my classes and what I'm really good at is simplifying concepts. It's talking to people. It's getting on their level and understanding where they're coming from. All of those align well with teaching, but I figured that out through internships and through work, not just through my major. Yeah. So when we tell parents, hey, it's okay that your kid may not know exactly what they're going to do with their knowledge yet, because they still have to figure out what skills they like using. Yeah. on a daily basis, what wakes them up, what makes them feel excited and happy. And that's actually going to come through internships. It's not really going to come through their classes,
Yeah.
with a few exceptions, right?
Yeah.
We often tell students, if you want to be an engineer, you have to be an engineering
Yeah.
student.
There's nothing around there.
Because you need those practical skills, which you will learn in the classroom. But outside of that, and maybe medicine, where you do have to learn how to cut someone up, don't just go intern and try to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of flexibility with what you learn in terms of content versus what you're good at doing in terms of skills, and finding kind of where that Venn diagram meets. And I think you're a good example of that. I know that you said you ended up in a major that you thought you would be good at.
Yeah.
And we've talked, I think, before about how, maybe not on the pod, but
Yeah.
you ended up in a career
Yes.
where it didn't exist while you were in college.
I love talking about this. So I did not, so to be clear, so that everyone has an understanding, I took my first semester at Stevens Institute of Technology, where I focused on engineering physics.
Mm-hmm.
And you parents might also be like, what is that? Basically, it is the study of experiments and the engineering of those practical experiments to prove physics theories, concepts, and goals, and to further their goals, right?
Very meta.
I loved the idea of doing that. It meant I got to be on my hands, working with tools, building experiments, testing theories, but also still aware of the theories and going forth with that. I realized that very quickly there wasn't going to be a lot of money in that, at least for at least the first 5 to 10 years of my career. And I have to spend a lot of time in academia, and I was really only looking for an undergraduate degree at the time. I didn't know where I was going to be. But I found that a lot of people who were in that field went to Wall Street. And so I changed my major after my first semester to quantitative finance. I knew that the school I went to had a QF program. I had some friends who were QFs. I talked to some college advisors. They were like, yeah, the starting salaries for these kids with the QF degree, they're doing pretty good. That's going to go ahead. I'm going to use that as a callback later for what our community defines success as. But I studied QF, and in that, it was a combination of computer science, stochastic maths, which I was already going to end up having to take, higher levels of calculus, so that was also convenient, and I love the math portions of that, and then finance and business classes. And that's nowhere near what I do right now.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, what I started interning at...
Well,
hold on. There are some components.
It's a lot of building blocks.
It's a lot of building blocks, right? I mentioned the math. I mentioned the computer science. I mentioned the business knowledge and the reasoning. By the time I left Stevens in 2018, GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation in Europe came into effect.
I also knew what it meant, but I was just going to let you figure it out.
There you go. But and I should know, I'm the one certified in privacy. But the idea is that took an entire shift onto where the entire market was going towards the use of data. And immediately, concepts such as data governance, data protection, data privacy are now being created for US-based businesses. Because now we were looking at, if you think of a US-based business such as Target and Walmart, they primarily serve people here based in the United States. But if you go to the EU and you are a European citizen, they had that regulation put in place. So our American counterparts had to figure out how they were going to do business elsewhere. And that created an entire industry where software platforms came. I worked for many of them. There are technologies that came. I helped create some of those, some of the earlier versions of it. And processes needed to be engineered by people who knew how to do that. And the only way that they were going to be able to find people like that is if they were, one, already interested in the technology, and two, aware of how the business does business enough to be able to facilitate that. So I was a data science intern at a software company that then translated me into full-time data governance, and that was a part of one of my jobs. Again, not the Wall Street job, not the engineering
not
physics
the physics
job,
that you started with
right?
either.
But it was a role that I was ready to take on because I had an appropriate balance of all of the different components, right? And I think that when we advise our students, we're not advising them for the jobs that exist right now, because ultimately the pace at which that industry is moving, those jobs I don't expect will exist within the next 10 years and certainly not within the next 20 years, right? So when we do talk to our students, we ask them to learn and to be interested in the skills that they are interested in acquiring,
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to be those skills that are going to be helpful. None of my QF counterparts nearly cared as much about the web technologies aspects of what I was working on. They were very much into the math, into the calculus. Having that website development and web server background and architecture background has really been very useful for
Mm-hmm.
me, right?
Well,
I
yeah, you can do, because I
mhm,
get to hear you on some of these
yeah.
calls,
Hmm.
and you get to talk to both the technicians and the people who have to use this
Hmm.
and the lawyers
Yep.
at whatever level they all need because of the combination of skills that you have.
Exactly. And so when we talk about what college is for, right, it is for our students to learn the things that they need so that they're prepared for the roles of tomorrow. And oftentimes, the roles of tomorrow are not going to be prescribed at the time that they're also picking their major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is where I also want to talk to educators a little bit
Yeah.
and schools and parents within this, everyone really, because I think this is information that all of us need to have. When we talk about, these jobs won't exist in 5 years, that's not quite accurate, right? These jobs will continue existing. They're going to look different. Or jobs similar to this will exist under different names.
Hmm.
Things change. A lot of the schools in our area say that they are preparing students for the 21st century. The 21st century started 24 years ago,
We are a quarter of
for
the way
being
through it.
pedantic.
Yeah.
And I just feel, and this is part of why I left the classroom,
Mm.
I feel like we're not moving fast enough.
Mm.
And it's because, and again, this is where my historian hat comes in, right? Because I can put all these things and these pieces together. The previous times we've gone through similar revolutions
Mm.
that have been as drastic as this, the internet, the Industrial Revolution, the
Yep.
printing press, we've had more time to adjust to it. We've had at least 10 years
Even 50
to
years before industries are created around this. Yeah.
to really see the effects of it, and people can take their time to get there.
Mm.
But I'm actually in a futures class right now in my doctorate program, and we're talking about, one of the important things that leaders need to be able to do is think not just 5-10 years ahead, but think 20, 25, 30, 100 years ahead.
Mhm.
And it's really, really hard to do because it requires so much imagination.
Yeah.
And imagination is something that, especially in our community, we are not super encouraged to engage with. But when I think about, okay, I'm working with a student, they're 17, they're going to go into college, they're going to graduate at 22, maybe 21, depending on, a lot of things.
Mhm.
And they're going to enter the workforce.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 6 years from now, after all is said and done.
Mhm.
What is the world going to look like then? That's my first concern.
Yes.
I'm not thinking anywhere before 6 years
Yes.
when working with these students.
Yeah.
And that's my first one. And then my second one is, okay, what will it look like 20 years from then when they're 40, building a family, having a career,
Mhm.
trying to make it all work? And then what's it going to look like when they retire? So I have 3 goalposts kind of.
Yeah.
And I think that's really helpful. And I don't know that everyone is thinking this way,
Yeah.
but I want more people to start thinking this way.
Yeah.
Because if I look at when we graduated high school,
Yeah.
2014, there was so much that was new and exciting and cool that we were looking at that other people told us we were ridiculous for caring so much about.
I remember everyone was like, "You're not gonna make any money on YouTube. You're not gonna make any money making videos." Like
That was exactly the one I was thinking about. I started watching YouTube and
Yeah.
becoming really, really obsessed with it, right, in
Yep.
2010.
Mhm.
And I remember thinking, this is special.
Yes.
This is something interesting. But even my friends were like, no, like, the thing is Tumblr, the thing is,
Mhm.
whatever other things were happening at the time. YouTube was like a weird kid thing.
Yeah.
Right? The other thing we've talked about is musical theater.
Yep.
It's everything that kind of lives on the outsides
Yes.
of what's cool and hip.
Yes.
And now you look at it, and Wicked is one of the top grossing films.
Yes.
Hamilton has been a complete, like, outstanding thing that's taken over a lot of media.
It's changed our culture. It's changed how we relate to history. It's changed so much, and it's also brought so much attention to musical theater as a whole in communities that probably never would have seen it. Like Broadway touring was not something I was even familiar of back then, but now everyone, some of our kids have gone to see Hamilton twice. Like it's one of those things that's fun. Yeah.
And theater kids run a lot of things.
Yes, they do.
And especially in the world of, well, now we have TikTokers as careers. That's a thing people can aspire to do. Half of those people who've really made it on social media
theater kids
are theater kids.
Yeah.
Because they understand the way that performance works. They understand the way that creating a character goes, right? They also understand entertainment, right? Like that's entertainment for you. And so I look back at high school us, 2014, seeing these things and being like, nah, this is going to be something big. Yeah. And people looking at us like,
y'all are crazy.
You're dumb.
Yeah.
And I know you have a story of one of your friends, friends might be a stretch.
Are you kidding me? I wish I was his friend. I'm going to name check him. Marquez Brownlee. We went to the same school, and I believe he was either a junior or senior by the time I was a freshman. But I remember a few interactions. One was like in passing, just walking by. I didn't say anything. And then I, of course, he played Ultimate Frisbee at the time, so I remember seeing him play. One of the things I think that was so funny was that everyone on campus, I felt like, who knew him or maybe interacted with him. I had a mentor who also was aware of him. He was much older than Marquez. But, like, I looked at him and I was like, you're doing... And, like he started just doing small little reviews on his on a low quality, like 720p looking channel, and it's translated into an entire studio where
we've modeled our intro after him, right?
Truly, right? Like he's also set the standard for what YouTube is. He's aspirational. He taught me so much from his YouTube videos about tech, and I'm a tech head. I love my technology and so forth. But the way he goes about thinking about tech, I remember parents would be like, "Oh, you're crazy to think that, he's
get off the camera, get off the
camera,
TV,
get off the TV," right? But that's the thing, right? I don't think it was that at that point for me, it wasn't that insane.
No,
right?
It felt very real, and I think that's the thing that. This is kind of what I wanted to bring up, right? For our students, young people have an ability to see the future in ways that those of us who are older don't always get to, because we have so many other things clouding our judgment, right? We have, well, Bill's got to get paid tomorrow.
Yes.
And we have, well, I've seen this before, and we're trying to understand a lot of things. And young people just get to run with the energy.
Yes.
Right? They just get to say, yeah, like that seems exciting and cool. Yeah. That seems fun. That seems to be where people are headed. And that instinct of like, I can see the vision, right? I don't know how I'm going to get there, and I don't know what it takes for me to get there. Yeah. But I see the vision.
Truly.
We need to respect that a lot more in our young people, because I think that they really do know more than we give them credit for, because they're not yet marred by everything else. And I still feel this way sometimes when talking to older people. Yeah. Right? Where I'm like, trust me, like, I've been here before, right? People thought YouTube was crazy, and now we're here. We were listening to podcasts. I remember one of the first ones I listened to was, and this one doesn't exist anymore, but it was Two Broke Black Girls. Yep. And it was audio only, right? Yep. The visual podcast didn't really exist yet.
For us, it was also Stuff You Should Know.
It was NPR's The Indicator, Planet Money. I used to listen to a lot of pop culture podcasts.
Yep. We listened to historical drama, Serial.
Yes. Yeah, and a lot of this took over. And even before Serial, because I would argue Serial is the thing that really like turned it on its head. But even before Serial, there were already podcasts. Yeah. And I remember listening and being like, this is cool. I want to do this one day, right? I want to get to that point. Yeah. It took me a while.
Sure.
But I remember thinking this is a really important form of media, because there's so many of us that don't have time to sit in front of a screen. There's so many of us that don't have time to sit and read a book. And this is, in some ways, returning to something old.
Yes.
Repackaging it in something new and accessible. and getting information out.
Yes.
I used to be able to listen to podcasts when I was on my way to classes. I can't watch a video
Nope.
on my way to classes. I can't read on my way to classes. I have to pay attention to the steps.
Yeah.
Right? But I could listen. And there's so much time when we could just listen, right? Driving, running, walking, all
Yep.
of these things.
Some of my favorite podcasts are done during my workouts or done while I'm driving in the car. I listen to ours in the car because I'm not in the room when you record some of them. So for me, the first time is when everyone else is hearing them for the first time as well. When it comes to how we talk to parents, though, about this, right?
Yeah, I've been circling around it.
Yeah. I think that one of the challenges that we
Face.
know or face, we know we have / we know we face with parents tends to be on the idea that, this community in particular is primarily comprised of immigrants or recent immigrants or first generation students, right? They are being asked to adapt to a world that is foreign to the way that they grew up in, right? We're not saying that parents don't necessarily give great advice or can be aware of the challenges for their kids, but what would you say to parents who may be like, yeah, there are these people who do all those things out there, but that's not my kid, or that's not going to be my kid, and my kid needs to do something like be an engineer, be a doctor, be a lawyer, because that's going to enable stability?
I think it's the doubly foreign thing, right? So it's one, they're adapting to a new country, and even like our traditional system is different.
Yeah.
But then you're also asking them, okay, now you've understood the traditional system. Let's go outside of that and let's do something weird.
Yeah.
I understand that that's hard, right? I want to start off with understanding that what we are asking people to do is really, really difficult. Full stop. The first thing is we have to understand success and what it means to us and how we want to define it. I think one of the things that I know for sure my parents see as success for my brother and I is that we can sustain ourselves, that we are independent, that we can live on our own. When I was deciding if I was going to teach after college, the first thing I did was I am going to look at, can I be independent? Right? And that I knew would be enough for my parents to be like, they're good. That number is so much lower than people think it is, right? The number you need, the amount of money you need to make to be independent in a community like ours is still really low because thankfully we have a low cost of living. We have a lot of things on our, like, helping us, right, in that process. I think a lot of people talk about success vaguely. This goes back to our culture of, and this is America, this is not necessarily, just this community of, we don't discuss salaries. We don't talk about finances in public.
Yeah.
We don't tell our kids about our finances. That was wild to me because thankfully my parents always growing up were very clear with us about finances and the processes. So like I knew how much our mortgage payment was.
Truly.
Right? I knew how much my parents made down to the dollar.
Yeah.
They told us when they got raises and how much those raises were. And there's two things happening with parents. One, they have a unclear definition of success, or they have it in their mind, but they're not communicating it to their students. They're just saying, we want you to succeed. Well, I don't know what that looks like. My goalpost is too big.
Yeah.
Right? It's too broad. And two, they're not telling their kids how they're succeeding as parents, right?
Or where they are.
Or where
parents.
they're at if they're struggling, right? So, I want to be an engineer because my dad said that's a good career. Well, it might be because your dad has heard that engineers make $100,000 a year. And your dad has been a teacher who unfortunately is not paid that well.
Yeah.
And he's been making $55,000 a year.
Maybe with slow increases up to $70,000 a year.
And so to be able to start at 90 from jump feels like a huge leap.
Yeah.
And it is for our community. When I started teaching, I was making what my parents made for a lot of my life combined. Yeah. Right? And so to me, I had made it. I had succeeded. To my parents, I had succeeded. Yeah. And then I know because, we've been together for a minute now and we've had conversations with my parents about salary and negotiations.
Concept of job loyalty and switching for a higher salary, all of those conversations.
And there came a point where we started making enough that my parents were freaked out
Yes.
because they had not even imagined this for us. They couldn't have imagined it for us. We were 24, 25, breaking six figures and demanding more. And how dare we demand more?
Yeah.
I remember when my brother graduated college, we talked to him about negotiating, and my parents thought, you know, he shouldn't push for more, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And I was screaming. I was, because at that point, you know,
we had enough experience under our belts,
and I was working with him on that, but like we were screaming that like the offer that he was getting was a lowball offer. That is something I see oftentimes, right? For that parent who's an educator who's saying an engineer makes money, and I'm like, I'm sorry, that's actually not the truth in all circumstances. I'm not an, I mean, I have privacy engineer in my name, but I'm not an engineer by classical trade definition, and I certainly can earn a lot more. And on average, I can out earn my engineering peers. I think one of the challenges is that, like, you know, this community doesn't have the context, right? Like, I'll say this right now. If you are a 4-year student who is graduating and you have 2 years of internships, I'm sorry, 75K, like what your father might be making, is gonna be lowballing. Like, they're gonna be lowballing you at that point.
Yeah.
Right? For professional degrees, you should be above that. But that type of context for some people are just like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? And I remember having that discussion with some parents, right? Where the realization that, no, actually, right, 90K will be the average starting salary for someone with sufficient enough experience, as long as they do college, right? They attend a top university, right? And like, for some of our students who are graduating from Ivy Leagues, I'm not selling for less than 120. And I know that for a lot of members in our community, they'd be like, what? And I'm like, and it's not like they're out here studying to be a doctor or a lawyer. They're doing the trades.
You can graduate with an art degree from a top university. We tell our students this all the time, right? But I have friends who've studied literature, psychology, who are graduating and making $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
This is not engineering and science and hard, you know, practical degrees.
Yeah.
People ask the whole time, what are you doing with psychology? And their answer was the same as mine. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? And they did, and they figured it out. They're succeeding. They're living the lives they want to live.
Yeah.
You don't always have to go for what feels like the practical degree.
Truly.
In order to have success. Now, the other thing that plays into this is finances is only one component of it.
Yes.
So
that's true.
When you're thinking about what you want to do, when I was thinking about what I wanted to do, I knew teaching wasn't going to be the most lucrative option that I had.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends went into consulting. A lot of my friends went different routes.
Yes. With
their degrees very similar to mine. And they were making way more money than I was when I graduated. But to me, finances weren't the only thing. Yes, I wanted to be stable. Yes, I wanted to be able to do, you know, take care of myself and do all those things. But I also wanted to be able to come back home. Yeah. I also wanted to be able to feel like I had a job with a good work-life balance. Now, I didn't actually get that my first year of teaching, but I knew I was working towards that.
Yeah.
I also wanted to be happy.
Yes.
With what I was doing. I didn't want to be sitting at a desk, miserable, hating everything, feeling like I wasn't contributing to a community.
Yeah.
And so I chose to sacrifice money in exchange for feeling happy with what I was doing.
And that's a different definition of success, or I would say a more complete definition of success.
And sometimes when we talk to our students, I see them light up. I know what they want to do. They want to write. They want to fly. They want to teach. They want to be an artist. They want to take photos, right? They have all of these big dreams, and it makes them happy. But they feel like, if I'm not making the most amount of money, then I'm going to be letting people down. And it's interesting because it's not their own definition of success.
Yeah.
They would be happy when we asked them. They would be happy taking less money and doing something they like.
Yes.
But it's their parents they're afraid to disappoint. It's their teachers. It's this idea that, why are you going to go all the way to New York just to become a teacher?
Can't you just do that here at UTRGV?
Well, yes, I can. But you know what? I didn't have to study 3-4 years to pass my teaching test.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm a really good teacher. And I am very proud to say that, right? I could hit the ground running. it's different.
Yes.
It's also, I'm not paying to be in New York.
Yes. Yeah.
So
The
why not go?
the opportunity was given.
Yeah.
And I think one of the challenges I think I have with our students is, you know, I said it before, but this is the first time they have to make this decision, right? And this is the first time for a parent, they're no longer responsible for providing for their kid because an institution is saying, "Hey, we believe in your education."
Yeah.
Right?
I had an acquaintance, we'll call, who asked me, well, you know, why go all the way over there and study education? You could have done that here. You could have done it faster here. I was like, I'm not paying for this.
Yeah.
So if I get to be in New York for free.
No, you got paid to be in New York. Let's be
and
clear.
And if I have access to culture that I've always wanted to see, I get to experience being fully independent in a very specific context. I get to learn how to exist in a city full of diverse people. I get to go to Broadway shows. I get to go to art exhibits. I get to do what I want to do. And I'm also learning from the top tier teachers in my field.
Yeah.
And it's free. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And it's the thing that, and this is for our students, this is the thing that gave me the ammunition to be able to tell my parents every time that they questioned, why are you doing this? It's free.
But
Don't
also,
worry about it.
Why do you care? You're not paying for it.
Well,
yeah.
I said it nicer. But the idea is like, and I think that's also why they felt like they could just let me give it a shot and give it a try because, what did I have to lose by trying it? Yeah. Maybe I wasted a little bit of time.
No, you wouldn't. If you're just going to transfer UTRGV, they're definitely taking those
right?
credits.
But maybe I wasted some time. Maybe down the road I feel like I need to go get a different cert or something more practical. Sure. I can go do that. Yeah. That's not going to be a big issue. But the things that I've learned, the people that I've met, the experiences I got to have, and you really didn't have to pay a dime for it. Yeah. Why are you complaining? Yeah. Right? If that's a situation. Now I know there are some parents where that's not going to be the situation, right? Sure. Where it will be a sacrifice for them to help get their students through school. And I think that's a different conversation.
Entirely. Yeah.
Of, hey, this is an investment and we want to make sure that it's going to pan out. Yes. But I think even in that conversation, the definition of success needs to be clear.
And it needs to be agreed upon.
And it can't be all this vague, like, well, I just want the best for you. Define what you think is the best for me.
Yeah. What's the expectation for a starting salary? Let's talk about it. Like, what's the hope you have for your child? Are they happy in their job or do they hate it?
What's best mean, right?
I think, some of the conversations I've had with students, like, I won't name them necessarily, but I remember the reason why they cry sometimes in that process, right, is because I call it out. I call out like, oh, based on everything you told me, right, being a nurse is the last thing you want to do. So why are you studying nursing, right? And then the following conversation could be, oh, so realistically, you were only doing that because your parents had an expectation of what success looked like for you, and this is what they thought that you could do. But in reality, you just want to do what your dad did and just be a little bit more comfortable doing that. And then the waterworks come. And the difficulty I have with that is for our students who end up going to schools on full rides, right? The thing that puts them at risk, because that's the thing I don't think the parents realize as well, right? The thing that puts them at risk is that they are already coming from a community that is dealing with catching up on the education standpoint, right? Texas, ranked nationally, right, is a difficult subject to go ahead and have a conversation with.
We're not up there.
We're not up there. So when you send your student to these institutions, right, there is a bar, and it's not like high school where they have to teach to the average or teach to a certain level to make sure that every kid gets the ability to enjoy their education.
Colleges are not equal opportunity. Yeah. I think this is something that is a misconception. Yeah. Right? It's not everyone. colleges do not have to cater to everyone, and they don't.
Yes.
This is why we have different levels of colleges,
Yes.
right? This is why studying education at Columbia University is different than studying it at UTRGV,
Yes.
right? Because it takes much more to get accepted one place than the other.
Yes.
And therefore, the standards of teaching are also different.
Yeah.
And even at, right, a public institution, you're still going to have a really high bar because professors expect you to be here and they're not moving their expectations.
Yes.
They're not going to adjust to you because they don't have to.
Yeah.
They are not certified educators required to fulfill a set of standards.
Yeah.
They're looking out for their future colleagues. They want their future colleagues to be at a certain level.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that a lot of our parents are not aware that there are some professors who just pull up to their class and say, "You're not getting an A in my class." They don't realize that that's the case, right?
I heard a parent bragging about how her kid was getting 100 in all their quizzes in college. I'm like, that professor's not teaching. That professor's not challenging your kid. Your kid should not be getting A's.
Yeah.
I would be one of those. I wouldn't.
No,
I think
no.
I think
No,
students can
come on.
work their way up to an A.
Yeah.
But I think there is something about, hey, if you already know all this, why are you here?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The whole point is that, right, as parents, you got to realize that what you are asking your child to do, right, is to jump over a bar that they've probably never seen in their life, that they may or may not have had difficulty
And they're still
attaining,
figuring out where
and
it
they're
is.
still figuring out where it is. They don't know how high yet,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they are going to be going to a place where no one will be there to catch them if they fall. So we have to be willing to allow them to succeed and clear the bar and give them every single shot. And a part of that means being supportive, even if it means you're struggling to understand what your kid is studying, even if it means you're struggling to see what the end result is going to be, because to have the piece of paper 9 times out of 10 is way, way better off for your child than it is to not have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best major is the one that's going to get you to the graduate.
Yeah.
And I just got a text this morning. I haven't even told you about this.
Wow.
A student's like, I'm already in calculus again, and I don't think it's working out. I need to reconsider my options. And if the decision is between changing a major or dropping out, I'm going to pick changing a major all the time. Go study literature. Go study something that doesn't require calculus at all, right?
Man. Yeah.
Pivot. We'll catch up.
Yeah. We'll have to do that. Yeah.
But that's the thing that I think parents are not seeing.
Yes.
Like the dropping a major or changing a major is a lesser harm.
There's no harm. Hold on. Realistically, there's no harm. What it is, it is a step in the right direction. It is a change in direction.
It is a preventative tool.
Yes.
Right? Changing your major is preferable to feeling like you have to drop out because you cannot handle or you do not like what you are studying.
Yeah.
It is much, much better for a kid to say, you know what, I need to pivot.
Yes.
They're also going to have to learn the skill for life.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking about jobs changing. We're talking about things that were here are no longer going to be here. Your kid, more than anyone else in history, is going to need to be able to pivot and pivot fast.
Yeah.
Notice the signs. Notice when they need to move.
Yep.
Notice when they need to make a change.
Notice when the industry is changing around them. Notice when technologies are coming in to upend everything.
And be able to feel confident in their ability to make the right decision for themselves in their context, in their moment. You are not at college with them.
Yeah.
You're not seeing what they're seeing.
Yeah.
You're not experiencing what they're experiencing.
Unless you're there talking to their professors, to the professors' colleagues, to their peers, to industry. A lot of our community doesn't have that access, and so it's hard to be like, hey, parents, you're not going to be the one that's going to best advise your kid. In reality, even we're not the best person to advise your kid. It's going to be your kid.
And
right?
we send them when they come to us.
Yeah.
And they come to us because we have the context of having been in a similar place, but also understanding where they're coming from. So we're often their first point. Great. I love it.
Yeah.
But what I tell them is, have you talked to your advisor?
Yeah.
Because again, I'm not in college with them.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing their grades compared to their peers.
Yes.
Because it's one thing if everyone's failing calculus.
Yes.
It's another thing if your kid is the only one failing and by a lot.
Yeah.
Right? And their advisor is the one that's going to be able to see that.
Truly.
I'm not.
Exactly.
So what I always offer is we trust experts.
Yes.
parents are experts at being parents.
Yeah.
That is what they've worked up to.
Yeah.
But at some point, you are not a career advisor.
Yeah.
That's not your expertise.
Yeah.
You are an expert at what makes your kid happy, probably, right? You're an expert at what them healthy looks like.
Yeah.
And that's the things that you have to look out for.
Yeah.
And if your kid is happy and healthy and they're not doing anything illegal or unsafe,
Yes.
then you have to trust the other experts in their lives to help guide them. And you need to encourage them to go to those experts.
True.
Right? So if a kid's like, I think I need a drop, I think I need to change,
Yep.
have you talk to your advisor?
Yes.
Right? Have you talk to your professors, your head of department?
Yes.
Any of these people who could better advise you
Yeah.
in terms of what's happening, what's going on in the industry, what they can do. Because it's... Should I...
Yes. Yeah, you do. Yeah, we go there.
It's a
we're already
little
headed there.
arrogant.
Yeah.
To continue to think that you know best.
Yeah.
When you are in a different context than they are, when you're in a different setting,
Yes.
and when you do not have all the information.
And you don't have to do the work. One of the things I think that I realized when working with parents and working with students is that, our parents, and the reason why we're tough on parents is because sadly the world is tough on them. The world is going to be even tougher on your kid right now because they are really going to be going through a world with a ton of uncertainty.
If you felt like the world was uncertain for you.
Yeah, imagine what it's going to be like for your kid right now. But our parents want the best for their kids.
I fully believe that.
I think it's just hard to realize what the best looks like, right? I had a conversation with a parent who, for her, it was an entire upending of a conversation to be like, my kid seems like they don't have focus. It seems like they are not enjoying what they like. It seems like I'm getting pressure from all these different places for them to just come back home. That parent is a great parent. That parent is a phenomenal parent because at the very least, right, the conversations that we have is it's about, I want what's best for my kid and I can remove myself from that. Right? The best parent that, and it was difficult for me because my parents could not be as attentive for my college experience. But I knew that if they were, I would have been able to hear, well, you know what? What's going to make you happy? Is this a smart choice because you're chasing money or because it's going to make you happy? Are you going to be able to survive with how much you dislike this other component, right? Have you actually thought about it? Have you spoken to your counselors? Have you spoken to your advisors, right? All of those questions. A parent who's able to be willing to allow their kid to just stumble a little bit, struggle through it, find themselves, is gonna find themselves on the other end of a student who's gonna be successful and who isn't gonna resent them for it.
Yeah.
And I think that parents right now have this type of have a lot of fear because I know for them the world is uncertain, and they just want their kid to have some stability because it feels like for our community there has not been any stability.
Yeah.
I almost want to be like, we're not going to get stability.
No, that's right. That's real.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the end of the day, we have to be ready for our students to be ready to adapt, and we have to be ready to go with them.
I think this is the difference of, and we were talking about earlier, right? Like content, skills. Yes. And preparing a kid for a 21st century. Yeah. If I think of the things that prepared us for the 21st century, having not been born in it.
Yeah. Well, Lord drop, we're not under the age of 25.
No, but I'm thinking because I feel like we've adapted pretty well.
Yeah.
Right? And if we were to look at, are we succeeding? I think we would both say yes.
Yeah.
What are the things that helped us in that toolbox? Yeah. To have some semblance of stability even in a world that's so uncertain. We've lived through so many unprecedented events.
Sure.
Right? This is just
a few.
Just a smidge,
Just AI, COVID,
9/11.
Yeah.
Like there's just
war in Iraq, war in Afghanistan.
And an incredible amount of change in our lives.
You could write an entire new Billy Joel song just for the past 25 years.
Just for the past 10. And if I think of what prepared us, right?
Yeah.
We had passions.
Yes.
That we were allowed to follow. We knew and we liked let me reorder that. We liked to and we knew how to learn.
Yeah.
And we were encouraged to do so in whatever way that meant for us. For me, it was reading.
Yeah.
For you, I know it was breaking things and putting them back together.
Yeah.
Right. It was a lot of hands-on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we have our arsenal of like, oh shoot, AI is a thing now. Okay, well, I know how I learned about it. I told you when I started to hear rumblings about this like 5 years ago,
Yeah.
right? That we're gonna get new tools very soon. We're gonna have a lot of these things. First thing I did was go to the library and check out some books.
Mm-hmm.
And those have served me so well because I feel like, okay, I am now prepared for what's coming.
Yeah.
I didn't study AI in college.
No.
I didn't hear about this information then because my professors were not really dealing with it. We had bigger fish to fry at the time.
True.
But we knew how to learn.
Mm-hmm.
We knew how to be excited about things,
Yeah.
how to be passionate about something. We knew to trust experts.
Yes.
I was always told to trust experts,
Yeah.
right? To go to talk to a bunch of people, to get different opinions, and
Yep.
to listen to that. And then this is the one that I think is the most important. I was told to trust my intuition and my gut.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, the decisions that I made were for me, and I had to be happy and comfortable with them.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm looking at a toolkit
Yeah.
of what we are also trying to crash course install in our students before
Yes.
they go to college,
Yeah.
it's those things, right? It's like what you like and be passionate about it and follow it and go down rabbit holes.
Yep.
Learn how to learn for
Yeah.
you, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Have experts in your life that you trust and that you can go to for questions,
Mm-hmm.
and go ahead and trust yourself at the end
Mhm.
of the day. And if you can build that toolbox in your kid and you can encourage them
Yeah.
to keep doing that in college and to keep building that in college,
Yeah.
they're going to be so much more adaptable. They're going to
Yeah.
be so much more able to handle
Yeah.
the instability. That's what makes them stable
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Truly.
Can I put you on the spot?
You can put me on the spot. Go ahead.
You have had like 10 jobs in the past 5 years.
I think it's a little high. Wait, let me just do a count. The last 5 years.
Okay, let's
1,
say
2,
10 jobs
3.
in 10 years.
No, I've had about 5. Okay, well, are we considering side gigs also jobs?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so like 10. Yeah, that's yeah.
About 10 jobs in 10 years.
Yes.
Some would say that's unstable.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
My dad certainly would. Yeah.
Some parents are like, no.
They're like, what are you talking about?
Why are you stable even though you've been moving job to job?
Why am I stable? Because I've been moving job to job. Because I actually moved faster than other people in my industry. One of the things that I did, especially when it came to the field of data privacy, was not only was I someone who learned the tools, did the certifications, but I went and practiced my hand at it. I did it for a large enterprise,
Mhm.
multi-billion-dollar business. I worked with experts. I spoke at privacy,
You became
conferences.
the expert.
I became the expert, but I also didn't stop reading and learning and refreshing my mind on these topics, right? And it meant that I had to go to a variety of different organizations to do that. I had to switch from one position because only knew so much about it from the lens of one technology. I had to go out and learn other technologies. Now I know 5 of those technologies that are relevant for this industry. So if you're going to need someone to help you find compliance, that's what I'm able to do right now. The reason why I'm stable is because I am already ahead of where the tide is going. So if anyone needs help catching up, I can be that person. And that is a lot more stable than people realize.
I like this metaphor of
Yeah.
water because I
Mm.
think this is where I was going as well.
Yeah.
Your kid is going to be in rough seas. You cannot control the seas.
Yeah.
Your kid is going to be in some vessels that are holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
Those are the companies, right? Those are the industries.
Yeah.
And again, can't control any of that.
Yeah.
Right? We are no longer sending kids into the world in calm waters.
Yeah.
Where as long as they pick a good boat, they're fine.
They need to know how to swim.
They need to know how to swim. They
Yeah.
need to know how to go from, they need to learn how to recognize when the water is going to get rougher
Yes.
and find a different current, find a different vessel,
Yeah.
swim their way to a better spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the stability is going to come. It's going to be from within because the world is not going to be stable. The careers are not going to be stable.
Yeah.
The industry is not going to be stable.
Yep.
So they have to be able to look out and be their own navigator, be
Yeah.
their own resource, and really be able to do that. And I think if I look at someone who is highly stable
Mm.
in an unstable world, it would be you, right?
Fair.
With that ability to see, hey, this technology is actually going to need so much more help.
Yeah.
I need to go learn about it. And the cool thing is, because again, I've been with you along all this journey, I know that that first company you worked for would happily take you back now with all
Oh
of
yeah.
the knowledge
Yeah.
that you have,
Mm-hmm.
because you're actually an even better hire now
Mm.
than if you had just stayed with them,
Yeah.
because you now know the competition, you now know
Yeah.
the other uses or other applications, you
I-
now know it from the user perspective.
I also know it from the context of AI. I also know it from the context of the newer things that have been that I know it from so many different lenses that now I can leverage that.
And
Yeah.
it's a different perspective on stability, right? It
Yes,
used
yes,
to
it
be
is.
that it's 30 years and a pension, and
Yep.
you work for the same company your
Yeah,
whole
25
life.
years they give you the gold watch. It's really funny because one of the first software companies I worked for is one that was specifically centered around hiring. And I remember the intern year that I was there was a mentor. She was responsible for us as interns, and she had like a sit down real talk with us. It it was she was like, "Look, I graduated right into the financial crisis." She was like,
Hello 2008, let's
right?
have a good time.
2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? Because that's the thing. She was like, I graduated right into the financial
Mm-hmm.
crisis, to the worst of it, when people were defaulting on their loans.
When
Yeah.
college graduates were baristas.
Unemployment, yeah. Yeah, when college graduates were baristas, people made the joke of, oh, I have an art degree and you just serve coffee. Like, they were in a really bad position, not because of the decision that they made of how they went to school, of how they went,
What they
what they studied, or why they studied, right? Um, she gave us the advice that you are always going to have to be aware of how you're interacting with the work that you do, the things that you learn. Because as the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop swimming, and that's the moment the seas are just going to sweep you out.
Yeah.
So I think that because of that, like that's why I think that's how I paid attention to the realization that, oh, I can't just be,
You can't relax.
I can't relax, sadly. Yeah, I'm in between work right now as we're filming this, but like I remember, like it's the first time in the past 5, 6, almost 7 years that I hadn't had a role after a role after a role after a role. But even in all those different transitions, right, I was learning and growing and building. And now I have a little bit of time before I go and enter into a different role. But I'm taking advantage of that ultimately too. But like, and
you haven't stopped
I,
doing
I
stuff.
haven't stopped doing stuff, but that's how I know that's how you're gonna survive.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you're gonna survive. Especially with AI, especially with the changes in our industry, in the market, in how people are expected to live.
Yeah.
I think to bring it back, our community is very isolated. I think
Yeah.
I think the first time you told me something, I remember I came and I visited Brownsville and I was like, "Oh, like I would expect a lot of kids, young kids to listen to a specific type of song or a specific type of music." And you're like, "No, no, no. It takes 10 years for stuff to make its way down here." And I was just like, "What?"
I figured this out during the YouTube era because again, I was a weirdo. I was on the internet way earlier than most, and I remember seeing trends.
Yeah.
Now we call them trends. Back then it was just,
Yeah.
what was cool.
Yeah.
And being like, no one in my community is doing this or listening to this. But people are saying that this is what's popular.
Yes.
And I realized, I think in high school it hit me like, we're about 10 years behind, right? The things that are cool in Massachusetts right now will trickle their way down eventually in about 10 years.
Yeah.
It's a different place.
Yeah.
Because we're also getting trends from Mexico, right?
Yes.
And we're making our own little weird culture here too. So and that applies also, I think, to technology industry careers
and the expectations for those. Yes. So we're at the point at which where our community has to go through a massive learning process That's what we want to be here for. That's why we want to do this work. Our students are going to have to undergo a massive learning process, as well as an eye-opening awakening when they go to college. They're going to have to learn about all those components, and then they're also going to have to figure out themselves and do that, and they're going to have to apply to jobs. What we're asking for of our community is hard, and it is difficult, but it's something we have to do.
Yeah, we have to catch up. We could afford to be 10 years behind 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think at this point with the flattening is what a friend recently described it to me as. Like, technology is flattening a lot of the differences that used to exist, right? And because our students might be working remote, because now we're working with people in New Jersey, in New York, in China, right? In any of these places.
In India.
The curve has to flatten. You have to now keep up with the New Yorkers, even if you're not working in New York.
Yeah.
Right? And
you have to outpace. This is something crazy as well. I know there's some students who come to me and they're like, oh, I want to study computer science. I'm like, why? They're like, because I want to be a software developer. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I know a software developer who gets paid $12 an hour in India who can build a better app than you can in the next 4 years.
You have to outpace the economy. You have to
outpace the economy.
Outpace outsourcing. You have to. There's so much that, like, we just can't. And so what we're asking our community is hard because it's, hey, we're stuck in 2015.
Yeah.
And we don't only need you to get caught up to 2025.
Yeah.
But now we're also asking you to consider 2050.
Yes.
Right? And that's a big, big challenge.
Yeah.
And we're not asking you to do it alone.
Yeah.
And we're not asking you to do it all at once.
But we're asking you to pay attention and to realize that education is the answer.
And that there are experts right here in your community that can help you do this, but you need to trust them.
Yeah.
And you need to trust that we're not talking because we don't know things.
No. We're talking because we care about this community, but also at the same time, I know what it's like for a community to go and not adapt. Like, I come from New Jersey, and in New Jersey there are multiple different communities that did not adapt, that struggled, that failed to have their industries, and it meant that communities were left behind.
They literally become ghost towns.
Yes, complete ghost towns. When we travel through the South, we see that in Appalachia, right? We see that in a ton of different places.
Yeah.
My hometown necessarily wasn't affected because we were central to a lot of that change, but the areas around us, if they weren't already prepared, or if they didn't have, the funds and access, right? And New Jersey public education is still up there, so it wasn't so bad, but it meant that a lot of pain still had to happen before people finally felt good again. So the thing that we're asking of our students sounds insurmountable, but it's not impossible.
Yeah. And the things we're asking of their parents probably sound even harder, but again, they're not impossible. We're asking you to let us help you figure out what the next boat is.
Yeah.
Right? What the next swim stroke you need to know is, what the next current is, and then to really write it out and to really just go along for it, because we can't keep fighting against it. The change is going to come, right? Change is inevitable, and we need to be able to keep up with it and not just like treading water, because that's exhausting, but really be able to foresee the change the next time around.
Okay. So we talked a lot about what may seem and sound as grim, scary, a little depressing. I want us to go ahead and take the next portion of this conversation to talk about some of the success stories.
Okay.
And to talk about some of the ways in where we find our students or our parents or our families seeing outcomes that maybe they hadn't anticipated. So let's go ahead and talk about, for example, the first student that we know of, Aaron. We've name dropped him in the podcast before.
It's because he's my cousin, so I don't mind putting him on blast.
Exactly. He's going to graduate Princeton soon. He's going to graduate Princeton having gotten
I'm so excited.
Massive paychecks.
Okay.
I don't know how he's done. Oh,
I don't want to put him that on blast, but I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
he scammed the system.
He didn't scam anything. This is all legal.
No. This is all legal and fair. But he figured out how to navigate the system in ways that surpass my skills, and I'm a little jealous and envious because I'm so amazed. But I'm also incredibly proud. And
Yeah.
the other cool thing about the fact that he's graduating soon and that I'm really excited about is through his journey, I know when he left, parents were afraid that he wouldn't come back.
Mm.
That he was just going to be gone forever and they were never going to get him back. And that's a big fear of a lot of parents here.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we've seen is I think he's more committed to the community now than he was when he left because he had the opportunity to take some distance and really bird's eye view it
Mm-hmm.
and get some context and understanding
And perspective.
and say, hey, we deserve better. And the things that he's looking to pursue post graduation
Mm-hmm.
are all with the goal of helping this community right here. Others too, by extension, but based on the things that he saw here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to me the biggest, that's how I define success. That's how we define success in our
Yeah.
organization. We want your students to graduate, but we also want them to like this community enough to come back and do something for it. It doesn't always mean physically,
Mm-hmm.
right? But so he's into data science kind of.
So, more specifically, he's into the study of information and how it relates to impact policy.
Yeah, and so some of the projects he's gotten to already work on
Mm-hmm.
are things surrounding immigration, things surrounding education, things around healthcare outcomes.
Yeah.
And he's going to be the person that gets us the data so that we can then go and say, hey, this is why we need this resource. This is why we need this money. This is why we need to change these things.
Yeah, don't just trust our word for it. Here's the actual factual research.
And
that
for those who
supports
really
it.
like numbers, and we throw numbers out all the time, in the 8 episodes I've recorded,
Mhm.
I've given you a lot of work with finding all the statistics I cite.
Yep.
He's the one going to be making those statistics. And the cool thing is, because when I started doing research about 10 years ago, right, unofficially,
Mm-hmm.
it was really hard to find any research focused on this area. It was really hard to find research that specifically fit this demographic of we're Latinos, sure, but we're not just Latinos. We're also in an immigrant community.
First
we're also
generation.
first gen. We're also low income. And there's all these intersections.
Yep.
I relied a lot on similar community data,
Mm.
right? I looked at, okay, African-American communities.
Yes.
I looked at immigrant communities elsewhere. I looked at first generation elsewhere, but everything's separate. I couldn't find anything that had it all.
Yeah. And truly, even if you were to get data about another immigrant Latino first gen community, that came out of California. It's a very different place than California here.
It's a very different education system. It's there's so many other factors. So I am so excited because I finally started during my doctorate program to see RGV data coming out
Mm-hmm.
and RGV statistics, and I'm really, really excited for the things to be able to call him up and say, hey, I need a study on X, Y, or Z because I'm noticing these things, but I need data to tell me if my gut is right. And I'm going to be able to do that. And I'm so excited. He's going to be on speed dial and he doesn't even know it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And we're going to get to go to his graduation.
Yes,
which is
we are. Back
also-
to Jersey.
We're going to have some great Indian food. I'm so excited.
I can't wait for that.
But yeah, he's definitely, and it's a success not just because of the university he's at,
Yeah.
and not just because of the career he's going into, and not just because we get to be at that graduation. It's a success because he's the pilot. He's
Yeah.
the proof that this can work, that trusting your kids. He's one who changed his major several times.
Yes.
Whose parents still don't quite understand what he's doing
Yep.
or where he's going with it. But they love him and they support him and they trust him and they trust the experts he's listening to.
Yeah.
And he's been able to make it through. And he had a rough first year.
Yeah.
Right? He
Yeah,
had
I
a
remember that.
hard time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on the other side of it. And he's going to graduate. And it's going to be a really fun moment for him and his family.
Yeah.
And it's all those things that we've talked about as builders of success
Mm-hmm.
coming together and making this happen.
Absolutely. So that makes up the class of 2026 in that sense. We also have the class of 2027, which is when we actually got to test out whether or not a cohort model would work. So,
Some of those students
Mhm.
are still pivoting,
yes.
which is very exciting to me that
Junior
they're
year, yeah.
actually getting narrower in their perspective of what they actually like, because I think they started off very broad,
or with just generalizations of what they were going to be doing
big
and
notions,
why.
and now they're looking at specific projects that they want to work on.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the cool ways to figure out what career you want to go into, is like, hey, what are people working on that I want to be a part of?
Yeah.
Because then I can learn the skills I need for that, and
Yeah.
from there I'll jump off to something else. So I know we have a student who's now considering more sustainable development, right? More engineering projects, but with less of a focus on aerospace, which was the initial plan, and more into how do I help communities that need it with the infrastructure that they need and with the resources that they need.
Yeah.
We have students who are going to graduate in the exact career that they started off with.
Yeah, and they persevered through it because it was very difficult. The first year calculus was hard. The second year maths were hard. Even having conversations about, am I going to be able to afford college? That was something that we also checked in and made sure that we were able to help make sure they could still do.
We have a student who's had to pivot in terms of how they're funding college, because family circumstances changed.
Yeah.
And thankfully they were able to do it. We were able to, my strategy of annoying people until they give you what you need has worked very well.
Truly.
Proven.
Yes.
Now. And so they were able to bug financial aid until they let them appeal, and we figured it out with them. But they're going to graduate and go into politics broadly. But again, with a focus on the RGV, someone who was desperate to leave here, and through their experience at the university that they're at, have really seen none of this is our fault.
Yes.
Right?
But they also see that we will also hold the solution.
Correct. And it's a lot of community power. So I'm really excited to see what they do. We have students who have danced through all 4 years of...
Truly, yes.
Well, 3 years so far, but they are leading their dance programs. It's really fun and exciting to see that. We have students who have become really, really good at LinkedIn.
Yes. Yes,
like,
that is true.
I see their posts, and I'm like, you've done some really cool internships. You've gotten to do some amazing projects.
Yep.
You're a leader on campus.
Yep.
That class is so exciting to see because it's so diverse.
Yes.
Right? With it, I don't know, we had one student, and so it's just kind of been like all attention on him. But with that group, it's been fun to see and follow the different paths that kind of align with their personality and align with their interests, but have gotten richer and deeper and better because they've been allowed to explore.
Truly. When it comes to the class of 2028, I know my thing is, I can't tell you how difficult I felt like that class was, but it's not because of anything of them, right? I think in that class we had a lot more students, and we had a lot more students who wanted to pursue raw engineering. And I think for me, it was through that class that I realized, you know what? We have some work to do.
Yeah.
Right? We have some work to do in preparation for calculus. That class is doing much better now, but before my freshman year, calling them up, making sure that they were okay, making sure that they're checking in. They're still not out of the woods yet, but they are in the process right now of like solidifying. They're discovering who they are. Like, I think we saw them come back for the last graduation party we had, and that I was like, some of y'all look completely different. Who is this kid? Like, when did they become an adult? When did they start acting, right? Like, and of course, you know, we still are connected to their families and so forth, but like that class surprises me. It's exciting to see them do the things that they do. They're still kicking butt. They're getting cool internships. They're getting scholarships to do amazing things.
Getting into muddy pits with cars they built themselves.
Yep.
And frightened me half to death.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun. But I know that I look at that class and I'm like, wow, these kids are doing, and I say kids now, they're adults. They're students. These students are doing some truly amazing things, whether it's amazing research that they're doing, they're discovering who they are. But again, right, they're still going through that process, and it's really cool. Those parents are also parents that we got to interact with a little bit more. So it was really awesome to be able to say that, you know what, this group of students is doing so well. I'm so excited for them.
Yeah. And I think that group is also our first experience working with trying to not just, a lot of them didn't have dream schools,
Yeah.
right? And so seeing that they're also enjoying the place that they're at,
Yeah.
seeing that they're also building community, that they're also figuring out how to belong in a place that wasn't necessarily what they envisioned, because either they envisioned something different or they didn't have a vision at all,
Yeah.
right? And watching them navigate that is top tier joy for
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, like I love to hear that you're also going to the football games and that you're
Mm-hmm.
trying out different coffee shops and that you're going to have a watch party for, Dancing with the Stars. Like these are all part of the college experience
Yeah.
as well. It's
That you
not
rushed
all
to frat.
even though we told you not
Even
to.
though we told you not to.
We see it all. We don't
Yeah.
always comment on it
Yeah.
because we know that it's part of the process.
Yeah.
And I'm actually happy that you're going through the process,
Yeah.
right? And I'm happy that you all are learning
Yeah.
who you are, what you like, what you care about, while also hopefully getting some hard skills in there that are going to help you for other things.
Absolutely. That class entered into high school, I think, during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a rough time.
Yeah.
And then we have our class of 2029,
Next. Yeah.
which are our freshmen,
Yes.
our first year students in
Yes.
college right now.
Yeah.
Have not heard panic yet,
I mean,
but I do know there's a few calls on my calendar coming up.
Exactly. The fun thing, and I don't know if many people are aware of this, but the fun thing that happens after we get to see them, all the pomp and circumstance, I know, you know, we know, there is a moment where they just sort of go radio silence because they are drinking through a fire hose.
Yeah, they're
There's
learning
so many things
everything.
they're learning at that moment. There's so many things they're realizing. There's so many things they're seeing. Things that are not uncommon for our students to say is, I didn't know that there were kids who took calculus their sophomore or junior year of high school. There are things that they're saying like, I didn't realize how rich some kids are, right? They're like, what do you mean
Someone offered me a ride on a private jet.
It's like, what do you mean that 70% of kids here pay full tuition, right? There's moments of reflection, of like questions like, am I poor? Am I good enough? Like all these different things that come up as a surprise. We know not to interrupt during that freshman year, but we know we're still here for them during that time. And I think that's super critical.
I stopped feeling sad that they don't reach out until the end of first year, because after Aaron, really, we learned like, even if we reach out and we check in, they're just gonna be like, I'm good, I'm fine, moving on. But they'll eventually come back and check in and tell us how things are going. And I know that this first year it is a lot. It is a lot of learning and a lot of processing. And what's going to be fun about that group is that a lot of them are actually local.
Yes.
And a lot of them are nearby. So we should be able to see them hopefully in December as well.
Yes.
And really see like, okay, how is first semester actually going?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about things? And then the upcoming cohort is going to be insane. Like they're already accomplishing so much as high schoolers.
Yeah.
They're already so much more involved than any group I've seen before.
Yeah.
I think this is really the first year that I'm seeing like no one's talking about COVID anymore.
Yes.
They're involved. They're in person. They're doing the things.
Yep.
They're having a good time doing them. It's like they're
building
back
rockets,
with the fervor.
starting committees, building clubs, everything.
Yeah.
Starting nonprofits, like
and
everything.
I'm excited that it's to see that translate into a college campus next year.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, they get to write this essay that I really like. It's what are you going to contribute to the campus community? That's one of my favorite essays that colleges ask, because I think it is one of the most important things. It's not just what this college can give you, but you are going to also contribute to it. And I see the responses. That has been one of the least edited essays that I've had to do, because they are so good at knowing what they're good at and what they can bring. Yeah. And they're excited to go and they're excited to build elsewhere. Yeah. I love working with builders, right? With kids who want to do the things. And I think a lot of those kids are in this cohort. I'm excited to see where they're going.
Yeah. And for us, it's not even a question. I think for our freshmen and sophomores, it's a little harder to know for sure if they want to come back. But with these two, even the previous class, we have a lot of kids who are dedicated to the RGV and who are really motivated in coming back after college. They know they're going to go and learn from some of the most experienced
Mm-hmm.
professionals in their field or subject area, but they know that they're going with the intent on being able to come back and help their community, or to work in their community, or to be a part of their it's awesome.
Share and contribute in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
It's really going to be an amazing thing to see. This is what, when we're talking about those like future thinking, right?
Yes.
When these kids are the ones in charge,
Yes.
that's the thing I'm looking forward to the
Oh
most,
yeah.
right? Like, listen, I've never dreamed of being in charge. I don't want to do this, but I'm so excited to feel like the people who are going to be leading us into our retirement
Yeah. Yeah. It's our retirement. Yeah.
are going to be so well prepared and
Yeah.
so caring and so understanding of our community and so skilled and great at adapting and pivoting.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait for them to be the mayor and the city
Oh
designer
yeah.
and the person in charge of PUB, so we finally stop having outages.
I mean, they don't do that bad of a job, but they're gonna be engineering some newer technologies. They're gonna be using the new components of AI that may be leveraged there. They're gonna be starting their own businesses
Mm-hmm.
here. They're gonna start practices here. There's gonna
Can't
be
wait to have some diversity in restaurants, some arcades,
yeah.
some different cool things that we can't even imagine yet.
Truly, yeah. Or some health professionals. Some of our students we worked with
Want
want
to
to.
be the first in our city or the first in our town. I'm so excited for all the firsts.
Yes, exactly.
So excited for
Yeah,
them.
that's gonna be so much fun. Yeah.
And we get to say we were a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, before we started recording this, one of our Studio X people said that Real Progress is helping to build a legacy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's exciting,
Yes.
right? It's knowing that we are planting a lot of seeds.
Yeah.
We're helping them. Well, we're not planting them. We're helping water them and putting the little palitos that help, guide them in the
Yeah.
direction that they need to go. And I really do think like the legacy is the work that they're going to put in to make this community better for the people that are coming after them too,
Mm-hmm.
so that when we're having this conversation again in 10 years,
Yeah.
we don't have to say we're still trying to catch up.
Yeah.
And we don't have to say, hey, let's get it together. It's going to be we're leading the way.
Great. What's next?
And I'm so excited for that.
Awesome. A little sneak peek as to what we are going to be talking about in our next season of Real Progress, the podcast. We're going to have some educators, some very visible educators. We're going to have some members of the community, very visible members of the community. We're going to have more parent stories. We're going to have more experiences with some of our cohort students. You'll get to hear a lot more from all of us, and I encourage you, go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't already. If this is the first time, you've got 8 episodes. That's like about 8 hours of watch time. Go back and go ahead and finish all of that. But with that said, anything else that we want to talk about before we let everyone go?
No, I think just the practical tip for today
Mm-hmm.
is to keep learning. Find something that you're interested in
Mm-hmm.
and go check out a book, go listen to a podcast, go read an article.
Mm-hmm.
Keep learning and trust yourself.
Awesome. And I would like to add, go ahead and look up and learn about that donate button on rioprogress.org. Because if you do like the work that we are doing, we'd love to have you be a part of it, whether it is in person or financially. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you all so much for watching this podcast and following along with us. If you really liked it, please feel free to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere that you might be listening to this. And if you want more information about the work that we do, you can go to realprogress.org or you can follow us on socials at Rio Progress.